Hello class, my name is Sabrina LaBelle Spear. My case study is about a second grade student named Gabe Silva, who could possibly be a child with a diagnosis of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or as most of us know, ADHD. I picked this case study because my oldest son, who is now 27, was diagnosed with ADHD in the second grade, which is the same grade that Gabe is in. I'm also familiar with the process that was taken in this case study because I have worked for the special education department of Union County Schools for going on 23 years now. According to Ms. Savinsky, who has been a second grade teacher for 3 years, her classroom was going quite well before Gabe transferred in the middle of the year to her class. She describes her class as being quiet, organized, and neat. Her class followed the rules that were posted up on the wall, and the classroom was going quite smoothly until, like I said, the day that Gabe transferred in. Since her first year of teaching, Ms. Silva has improved her classroom management, she's improved her own organizational skills, and now has a better rapport with her students. All of this changed when Gabe transferred in. He was a second grader with a lot of energy. Gabe was very outgoing, he was friendly, talkative. He was always the first one out to recess, and when he went outside, he was full throttle the whole time. He was also the last one to come in from recess after his name had to be called several times. In the classroom, his reading and math skills were on target, but his grades didn't reflect that because he either didn't turn his assignments in because he was so disorganized, or he couldn't finish the assignments because he was so inattentive to the assignment. Gabe's behavior started rubbing off on the other students in the classroom. So her now quiet, organized, and neat classroom became messy, disorganized, and very noisy. So at this point, Ms. Savinsky knows she needs to do something. So she talked with one of her coworkers who was a special education teacher and asked the special education teacher if she would come to her classroom and do an informal observation. So the special education teacher agreed, and one morning she sat in the back of the class for 2 hours. During that 2 hours, she kept a running log of every time Gabe got out of his chair, every time he disrupted the classroom, and every time he wasn't on task. She used a stopwatch to time how long he did all these things. And based on what she saw, she suggested to the teacher that Gabe's parents be called in for a meeting. In our district, we call that an ARC meeting. She also told Ms. Savinsky that she needed to bring his grades, samples of his work, and any concerns that she has for him in her classroom to the meeting. Gabe's parents, the Silvas, agreed to the meeting, and they came and they expressed their concerns to the committee. The parents were very concerned with Gabe's academic performance. Ms. Silva agreed that it was hard to keep Gabe on task at home while doing his homework. The special education teacher gave the parents suggestions to help Gabe be more successful at home. And the parents agreed to these suggestions that they would try this at home to help Gabe be more successful. Ms. Savinsky suggested Gabe was more inattentive and more active than the rest of his peers, and that his parents should take him to the doctor to have him tested for ADHD. This upset the Silvas. They did not want their child put on medication. The committee expressed to the Silvas that just because someone is diagnosed with ADHD does not mean that they have to be put on medication. For the school system, a diagnosis of ADHD means that a child can qualify for special education services. And if a child qualifies for these services, then they will be given an individual education plan, which for short we call an IEP. And in these IEPs are modifications and accommodations to help that student be successful in the educational environment. The committee explained to the parents that before that they could pursue this any further, that they would need a signed agreement from the parents in order to proceed any further. Thank you and have a good night.